are you today?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yep.
Honestly, I've already done two interviews just before this, so I'm glad you are the last today. Uh, but it's very inspiring, and yeah, I've been working hard preparing for the tour. So yeah, my
It's
energy
all
is
go, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
part of the thing, isn't it? You know, you got to do your interviews, you got to get out there, we've got to sell this album, we've got to talk to people about it, and just basically well, dig into it a bit, really, isn't it? But obviously, when you're doing several in a row, I guess it can get a little bit heavy if the same kind of questions are getting asked, right?
Yeah, but it's okay. Actually, it's quite nice to see the differences, and I am not complaining at all. But you asked how I was doing, so I thought I'd be honest.
No, honesty is the best policy. Thank you for that. January, we're 2 weeks almost into it. Has it been overall treating you well? And have you been able to kind of avoid that post Christmas, post New Year's blues that sometimes sinks in?
No. No. No, honestly, no, that period was wonderful, but I actually do feel the stress of going on tour, which is a
Mhm.
healthy one, but there's just a lot of work to do. And I don't know. I'm also teaching at a conservatory, and I noticed mainly my students are feeling the stress, and I'm feeling the
Mhm.
stress as well
Oh,
because
goodness
of it.
me.
So
Osmosis.
yeah, yeah, I'm leaving just the day after their exams and stuff. So I'm obviously this is a bit of a personal thing, but everything together, I feel this, and I know I just started living together with my girlfriend. She's really anxious about me leaving for such a long time. All these tiny things, they play their part.
Mm, what's how are you gonna how do you plan to kind of get past that anxiety? Is it just a matter of look, it's we just I've got to get out on the tour, once you get on the tour and things will start to settle a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, definitely. I know from experience, a few days in, everything kind of, in that you say, lands on its feet.
Mm,
But everything starts to roll. Everybody knows their task. But it's mostly, I know this anxiety is all perfectly natural, and it's just a matter of, doing the planning properly,
mm.
hitting the deadlines, uh, just preparation, making sure everything is okay, and you do what you need to do at the right time. And then it's just, yeah.
Are you personally kind of like well organized when it comes to going out on tour? Do you are you always well set up, ready to go, or is it like a last minute throw everything into a suitcase?
Uh, a little bit of both. Like if it's about my personal stuff, I do actually, then it's the evening before, throw everything in a suitcase. But the logistics of things, I love to think about problems. So I often try to foresee where the problems lie for the
Mm.
band in general. And I notice I often think about the things nobody else has thought of. And the other way around, I'm not always that organized. And then things that are very straightforward, I tend to forget. So it's yeah. So that's why it's really important that we work together, And yeah, I like to keep everybody sharp.
Um, Considering so much going on, and it's incredible that alongside all of this, we're preparing for a tour and your personal life and all of that, you have to promote and prepare for an album release. We, of course, talking about Genotype, which is out January 23rd
Yeah.
via Kscope. Very, very cool. We're almost there. What time recording? We're 10 days away, in
Yeah.
fact. But everybody should already know this because there's been a number of singles released as well and a lot of listens on them too. Tell me, where is your head at with it right now? Are you still enjoying the ride or do you just want it out?
No, I think I just want it out. Um, I think it's always this way, but like my head was really into it during the recording and also the writing, but the recording was like the most intense part. That and the mixing, really staying on top of your game, giving the right feedback, making sure it sounds exactly the way you want. And then you have this time where you can actually let go of that, and really
Mm.
become yourself again and breathe. And honestly, the first few singles were really exciting to see what people would think, but you know there's nothing you can do to change it. So you kind of just let it happen, and like it's really cool to see there are many, many, you know, positive things people are saying. Obviously, as always, there is also a little bit of negativity or critique, but that's always going to happen. And that's just a little bit of acceptance, which is sometimes a bit difficult as an artist, but uh, worrying about it is not going to change anything. If anything, it's going to just make you feel worse about something that's, you know, it's not that bad. And I know also from experience and from listening to other bands that sometimes an album or a song kind of needs to grow on you.
Mm.
So I just honestly, I just let it happen at this point. And I would be like, I am really proud for the moment that we released the entire album and it's out. And then, you know, then it, everybody that has formed an opinion about a specific single or something
Mm.
can now formulate an articulated, like honest opinion about the whole thing. And yeah,
It
I
has
hope
been
people
thrilling
like
to
it.
see. Like, it has been fantastic to sort of see there's been majority positive response. I did some digging. I'm going through the YouTube comments, just trying to see, get that feeling. And it is predominantly positive. Yeah, of course, as you said, there's the odd negative voice, and they happen to be loud. But that's as you said, nothing you can do about that. So why worry? But when you see an overall majority positive response, does that go some ways to kind of ease your mind as how you think the overall album might be received? Hey, if people are loving the singles, they're surely gonna love the full album, right?
Yeah, I think so. I honestly think that the people that didn't love the singles are gonna love the album more. Um,
Hmm.
the thing is, you're still, I mean, Textures is a company. We're artists, but we're still a company and we have management, label, we have our own opinions. Uh, we have the fact that we've left the world for a few years and that
Mm-hmm.
we came back, and then you try to make a choice like you can go for a more obscure song as a single and speak more to the old school fans, or you can, in case what we did is to choose a few of the more catchy, commercially interesting songs
Mm.
to try to speak to actually a newer audience and hopefully, keep the trust of our old fans, that will be rewarded with the rest of the album. Yeah.
Tell me about it. There's every belief in my mind that you could have just done a part two of a previous record and it would have been satisfying and everyone would have loved it. But the fact that you've chosen not to do that, I think, is the most fascinating, interesting, and exciting thing about this release.
Uh, what do you mean exactly?
So, like, you could have just basically done a repeat of songs almost to what you've done in the past to
Oh, yeah,
please
yeah.
the old school fans.
Yeah.
But obviously, you've chosen not to do that. You've chosen to look and think and evolve about the future. And I think that's really exciting.
Yeah. I think so too. And honestly, I think it was the only choice to make. We, I mean, deciding which song to release at what point is just a commercial move, like a strategic move, you know?
Mm,
But actually writing the music is all pure inspiration. You know, none of the parts on the album are like, oh no, we should change it because people might not like it. Of F that, We
yeah.
just do what we do as artists, but then the marketing of the album, that was actually what I was talking about mostly. And honestly, we did start writing this album 10 years ago.
Hmm.
Like technically, uh, we came back to it and noticed that we've all changed quite a bit musically and we've matured a bit. The
Mm,
story we want to tell as artists changes over time. Your skills change over time. So we noticed that it felt way more natural to just start from scratch.
mm.
So that's what we did. We did take some of the old ideas, but maybe 10-15% or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you all came back together and you're looking at this and you're realizing this is what you've done previously isn't who you are now, you all have to have a shared vision then of where you all want to go. How clear was that vision in when you first came back together?
Um, quite clear actually. I think one of the big changes we decided on was that the previous Texas album were written a bit more together, like with the whole
Hmm.
band. And here, for the sake of time and progress, we decided to write it with the three of us. So
Hmm.
that's Steph, our drummer, Bart, the guitarist, and me. And we had some talks about like, hey, what do you want to do? What do you feel this should be? And I think in general was like more air, like less the need of trying to prove that we can play really fast or really complex rhythms, but just more make that an ingredient of a natural storytelling.
Mm.
So more stretched out songs, more synths, more even more layers, and there's a lot of complex stuff going on in the songs, but none of it is to me seems forced.
Mm.
And in the in the past, I do feel that some things were a bit more forced.
Okay.
So I don't know, maybe it's also a part of maturing. I know when I was even younger and when I started playing synths, I only wanted to play fast, as fast as I could, as many notes. Oh, look at me, look at me. And I'm like, okay, I've done that. It's still a part of me. I,
Mm.
I also have changed. I mean, I can go back to that. I still have those skills, maybe not as good as a few years back, uh, uh, but there's just so much more to tell. And you just, I always see it as cooking, you just
Hmm.
put, if playing fast is the salt, you just put some extra salt on this part, and maybe a bit of pepper there and, kind of go at it like that. And I don't know. I think one of the things that has been a thread, or I don't know if you use this, a red line
Hmm.
in the songs of textures is the tension span of songs. Kind of taking a simple idea and see how far you can stretch it and tell the story with
Mm.
that. And we've taken that even further with Genotype, I think.
Overall, would you describe the writing process as a mostly comfortable, flowing, creative period?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And also kind of let it go of details. So really setting the base of the song, Some of the songs were really written within a few hours, just from start to finish. But then the exact melodies or the exact chords and stuff, we figured that out later. But we just needed the flow of the song to feel right.
Mm.
And
That's
sometimes
when.
I know sometimes you can get stuck on this one riff that's really difficult, and you're like 3 hours into it, and like, oh yeah, I've written exactly 2 seconds of music, you know? So yeah.
At what stage then did you start to notice in the writing process that you were seeing the shape of an album coming together? You had X amount of parts or whatever many songs written.
Good question. Mm, honestly, I think, yeah, it was about halfway through, like when two or three songs were done, and
Mm.
the rest of the parts we had that weren't entire songs yet kind of felt like they had connection in terms of the flow they had, like the kind of the general tempo, the amount of heavy riffs as compared to maybe longer atmospheric parts, things
Mm.
like that. And like, oh yeah, okay, cool. This really feels like a uh, something you can grasp almost. And then you can easily start to add to it because okay, we have this concrete thing,
Hmm.
and the only thing we need is like these extra ingredients so we can put that in the other songs to make it a whole. Yeah.
What does it feel like to you when you reach that point in time when you can see, okay, this is the spine of an album, and now we know what we're doing, so to speak?
Um, in a way, really nice, but
Mm.
honestly, really stressful. We decided that we wanted to take as much time as we needed with this album, and we thought we had that until we noticed we didn't. Like, uh, there's only I mean, recording an album, let's say over the Christmas holiday, is a really silly idea.
Hmm.
because it just takes 3 weeks out of the whole process. So doing this thing, recording an album when you're doing festival shows is also not a very good idea. So then we kind of looked in the agenda and saw like, oh wait, if you want to have the album finished by this time, we actually need to start recording at this time. And then
Hmm.
we thought we had like 5 more months of writing, and that became maybe two.
Hmm.
And I think only a few weeks before that, or a few months maybe, we noticed like, okay, this can be an album. So then we really had to step it up. Like, yeah, and that was really stressful. I mean, eventually it does help,
Hmm.
like the pressure of a deadline. But
Yep.
and I think every artist is gonna say they wanted more time. But yeah, it was also a bit stressful. But I think for me, every Textures album has felt that way.
It's interesting isn't it? Because obviously you can't go back now and imagine what it would have been like or what you would have created had you had a different scenario, had you had more time, had you not had that pressure. Who knows? This is what we got. This is what you created. And yeah, so like it speaks for itself, I think, regardless of how stressful it was,
Hmm.
it seems to have worked out nicely.
Yeah, no regrets or anything, but it's just,
Hmm.
you sign to a label and then you actually, without knowing when you want to finish the album, maybe, a bit,
Hmm.
uh, how do you say, uh, naive. Uh, but yeah, they at some point they're like, hey, there are certain points in time you can release an album, either at the beginning of the year but you're not going to release an album at the start of festival season.
Hmm.
So if we wanted an extra few months, it would have been the case. So then it would have been the end of this year.
Yeah.
And that's a long time. So you make this choice, you go for it, and you make it work. And we
Yeah.
did.
Well, speaking of which, then you get in the recording studio. It is time to do that side of things. You said it earlier on. It was you enjoyed that part a lot. What was particularly enjoyable about recording?
I did it here. Uh, so for me, I've played on two Textures albums, and I did all the synths recording at our guitarist's place, and he had booked like 2 days or 3 days for it. But I always felt that was never enough, and also I have a comfortable setup here. I've worked very long on having it exactly the way I want, plug and play. Everything is hooked up. And last album I had to take everything apart, and try to figure out a setup for in the studio. And then even I felt I didn't have enough time. Also, I did all the demos, also here at home. So I have a lot of stuff that's programmed into, I use Logic
Mm,
Pro, a lot of sequencers and automations and stuff. I already have that programmed. And then this time, actually, I could use all the stuff I'd already programmed and kind of use that for the sessions for the final album takes. So for me, that was really enjoyable. And I had Bart come over
mm.
and kind of, he was the producer, but he just sat on the couch and told me, yeah, try this or that, or yeah, perfect, or maybe go again, or try different sound. And I really, really liked that. And I engineered it myself. So I was just sitting behind the laptop. Like I'm now just going through the songs, and I don't know. He I'm a night owl, especially when it comes
Mm.
to music. So, I was living at home alone at the time. So we, really cool sessions, a few beers until 4 in the morning, like really, really letting the creative juices flow. As opposed to the songwriting, we always did, starting at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, doing half a day or whole day, really like more like a job. And this felt so
Mm.
free. And I think a lot of really cool ideas came out of that freedom of not having to pay the studio.
What a unique moment. It's fantastic to hear. The sort of thing that, well, hopefully you'll be able to replicate in the future, but it could also be just a very unique writing experience for you.
Yeah, yeah, really
On that front,
nice.
though, you must have run into a few challenges, a couple of times where you tested yourself potentially in the recording side of things.
Ooh, yes, a few. I
Mm.
think mostly the, I mean, I didn't write on all the songs, so there were a
Mhm.
few songs I just didn't get until after I had recorded them or the synths for them. Specifically one song, I don't know, I just didn't feel it, and I was like, but I've done so much in the other songs, I can't not do anything. So I
Mhm.
really needed Bart to guide me through it, and like, yeah, let his ideas, yeah, really tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And after a few tries, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, and I understand now what it's about, and yeah, but I think for me that was the biggest challenge because a lot of the other stuff went so naturally, and like as soon
Mm.
as hearing the demos, I already knew what I wanted to do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a I'd imagine it's quite a different feeling, right? Like when momentarily hitting a wall almost.
Yeah, yeah. Then I'm really happy there was somebody there. That is really nice. Way I don't know. Usually I know what to do, but if
Mm.
you don't, then I also can get really, really frustrated and like it's unproductive. And we did have a lot of time. So I am talking mostly about the synths now, but
Yep.
the guitars and vocals were recorded all at Bart's home. So, you know, uh, and we did take enough time for that. And for me, one of the things I also really, really liked is that after the synth recordings were done, I spent another day or so per song doing only effects and sound design
Mm.
because
How
I
fun.
really like electronic music and I've made a lot of electronic music
Yeah.
in my time away from textures, and I'd really like to incorporate that. So a lot of stuff you maybe hear on there that makes it sound really modern is me spending a lot of time trying to make that.
That makes so much sense because I mean, you hear the album, it's quite clear talking about you personally, right? That it's quite clear that you have grown and evolved as an artist. You've obviously learned not just a ton of new things, but also been felt more comfortable to incorporate things you love into the music. I have to ask then, considering all that growth and evolution, do you think that if textures hadn't stepped away, that evolution may not have happened in the way it did?
Uh, yeah, yeah, definitely. I went on a total different musical journey,
Mm,
making electronic music, actually with the same mindset as textures, but I've learned so much over the past 6, 7 years. I mean, I've studied conservatory here in Amsterdam, and I learned a ton of stuff there. And then I learned a ton of stuff playing in textures, and then again, starting this new project, and I could take all that experience
mm.
and throw it at the album, which felt I felt really in control, which was really nice.
What fascinates me is how natural it all is as well. This almost feels like an inevitability. Like there was no other direction that you and Texture as a whole was ever going to go in. This was going to happen no matter what.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think if we had forced ourselves at the time to keep on going and write the album as it was, that it would have broken us up personally as well.
Mm,
If I mean, it almost did for some people.
hmm
The break was necessary,
Yeah.
and I don't know. You can always think of what could have been, but
hmm
I know it was a wise decision then, and I am happy we are back together, and I'm proud of what we've done. Yeah, so I mean, I feel very positive about it, and I hope we can carry that on to our fans.
I feel very positive as a fan too. So I have to ask you then, overall, what do you kind of hope listeners take away from the record when they hear it?
Um, uh, Lyrically, it's a very personal record.
Hmm
A lot of stuff on there is about, retrospect, personal growth, uh, kind of fighting your demons, accepting your demons, things like that. I hope it can help at least one person, um, or inspire. And yeah, I really hope people understand musically what we've been trying to do,
Mm.
and you know that we are an ever evolving band and no album we have made has been the same. And this is something we aspire to do. So,
Mm.
all these choices are intentional, and it's not about selling out or becoming less metal or something. It's just about trusting your artistic instinct to make what you feel you need to make. And that is it. And I hope people can accept that for what it is and enjoy it in the process.
Well said. But I want to bring it back to what we actually started talking about at the beginning, which is basically the tour. Because soon you're all over
Oh,
Europe with
yeah.
Ginger, including dates in the UK as well, which is where I am, including my city of London. So I wanted to ask you, what can we expect from a Textures live show in 2026, especially one with a brand new album to showcase?
Um, it's gonna be energetic for sure. Um, we do have an opening slot, so we have 40 minutes set, which is challenging for band with long songs and a large discography. So we had to make some choices, but I don't know. We decided to rotate the set a little bit. So I couldn't tell you right now which songs we're gonna play, but we're gonna play at least a few, like two or three brand new songs,
Hmm.
definitely, and definitely the old classics you expect. So I don't know, Awake, Timeless, some stuff like that.
Whatever you
Uh,
can fit in the time.
yeah, but it has been a fucking difficult choice to make because we have so many hits, and you're like, yeah, but we also want to put in like the more, put a song from the first album or, some really fast songs. But I think in the end we chose to make it, a bit more catchy, a bit more like feel good. There's definitely some heavy stuff on there as well. But you have to make it good with the time that you get. So it's gonna be a very fun and people can sing along. If you know our greatest hits, you're gonna have a great time. And if you don't know our greatest hits, you're still gonna have a great time because there's also some of the old songs in there. So
Tell me about it. Save the longer, more elaborate stuff for when you're back headlining and doing your own shows. For now,
definitely,
it's gonna be a blast. But before then, it's Genotype, January 23rd. In fact, actually, doesn't the tour start on January 23rd in
yeah.
Germany, right?
What a coincidence.
How are you? So, an album release day, how are you plan? Is there a plan to celebrate on album release day? You're obviously playing that night.
Ooh, honestly, I don't know. I think we should be more, well, we might do a little bit of a celebration, but honestly, we should be more focused on just getting over that first step because that first day is going to be one of the heaviest days of the tour. You
Hmm.
know, we don't know any of the other guys. We still have to get from our hometown to
Yeah.
actually to Germany, and the next day we play back in Holland. So it's
Yeah.
not the most convenient thing logistically, but so just, surviving that first day, making sure everything worked will be a celebration on its own. Uh, but I think we'll definitely, maybe we'll pop a bottle of champagne or something.
Whatever you do, I hope it's a blast and I hope it's a lot of fun and as stress free as possible. Yuri, we're out of time. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
chatting to me. Thank you very much for watching. We really do appreciate it. If you like what you've seen, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It does make a difference. Of course, you can find us at gbhbl.com and across almost all social media platforms. So do check us out there. If you really, really want to support us, though, consider buying us a coffee over on our coffee page. Thank you very much.